Alright, you adamant astral avoiders, today we'll finally talk about the Dark Zone Destroyer, Luna, debuting in the upcoming Fake Ascension update. If you don't want to miss future PGR guides and videos, don't forget to subscribe, and if I make any corrections or forget to mention something, it'll be in the pinned comment down below. Alright, let's get into it. Luna is a base S-rank attacker construct that deals massive range dark damage, and in this video I'll cover her skills, passives, ascensions, team comps, playstyle and rotation, builds, weapons, and my pull and build recommendations. If you want to see a specific topic, timestamps are provided. Starting with her kit, I want to cover her core passive first. It's indicated by the gauge at the bottom of the screen, and performing 3 orb and matrix pings will make any next orb a matrix ping, and 3 orb and matrix pings will also charge your gauge. And if the gauge has any amount of charge, you can hold down the basic attack to enter annihilation mode, dealing some initial dark damage to enemies, and will also grant her brief stagger resist and automatically trigger all QTEs. And note that she cannot generate regular orbs in this state. Her gauge becomes an annihilation variant, and all orbs becomes white orbs, with up to 4 depending on the amount of gauge charge. Expending these white orbs will deal dark damage while also granting some energy, and basic attacks will also deal dark damage in this state, but each attack will consume the annihilation gauge. And also something to note here is that she also gains an additional white orb if she triggers the matrix in her annihilation state, and when the gauge is empty or when she swaps out, Luna returns to her normal state and her original orbs will return. And if that was way too dank, then the smooth brain TLDR is to spam 3 orb and matrix pings and then hold down the basic attack and then spam basic attacks and orbs. Her ultimate is a circular AoE nuke that deals massive dark damage and also drains the remaining gauge in annihilation mode. Her basic attack string deals physical range damage, and she can shorten her basic attack string after dodging, and in core passive annihilation mode, her basic attacks deal massive dark damage instead. Her QTE just does dark damage in a small AoE. As for her orb abilities, her red orb fires a barrage of spears that deal physical damage from range, with 3 orb and matrix pings dealing dark damage. And her blue orb quickly drops a field from range onto a target, dealing physical damage over time, with 3 orb and matrix pings once again converting it to dark damage, and this is also her swap in attack. Her yellow orb deploys multiple spikes dealing physical damage with 3 orb and matrix pings converting it to dark damage. As for Luna's leader passive, she gives the team increased dark damage and attackers extra attack. Going over her ascensions, at double S, she enhances her core passive with white orb damage and increases the orb's damage, and at triple S, she gains dark damage in annihilation mode, and this persists for 4 seconds after leaving the mode, and it also automatically procs matrix when entering the annihilation mode with full gauge with a cooldown. And at triple S plus, she gains damage on her ult based on the amount of white orbs expended. And for budgets of free-to-play players, S rank is usually enough. And as for team comps, for Warzone and Paincage, they're basically about the same. Luna's going to be on the red slot, 4-piece Da Vinci Vera on the blue slot, and Tenebrion on the yellow slot. And if you don't own Tenebrion, you can slot in any 4-piece Da Vinci tank instead of Tenebrion, and use Bathlon Vera as the sub DPS. And Luna will be always set as leader here, and Vera as the starter. And for those wondering about Astro, this man's 6 feet under the grave at this point and doesn't really see much use now. So sorry Astro, you got power creeped. Thank you for your service, may you rest in peace. And as for Luna's playstyle and rotation, you want to first swap into Luna, perform a matrix ping, and then hold basic attack to go into annihilation mode, and burn the 2 white orbs which will be important for energy later. Alternate between 3 orb and matrix pings to fill the core passive gauge again, and go into annihilation mode by holding the basic attack at max gauge and proc the QTEs. Burn the white orbs while basic attacking since the enhanced basic attacks are a decent amount of damage, and ultimate when the gauge is empty to go back into normal form. And in here you can choose to swap into Tenebrion or Vera if you're out of orbs, or repeat the rotation again. And this specific rotation will make sure that you have enough energy to ultimate by the end of the core passive annihilation mode. And this is pretty much a rotation for both Warzone and Paincage. Luna doesn't have that much downtime similar to Veritas thanks to her free matrix passive, and can take nearly if not all of the field time for burst modes like Paincage. And note that you don't have to charge the core passive gauge all the way for weaker Paincage bosses. If the boss is low HP, you can just go into core passive with like half a gauge and burst it down. Also be aware that Luna is not invincible while casting the core passive, which can be detrimental since her cast time is quite long when holding the basic attack. And as for builds, for 5-star memories, you can run 4-piece Ike and 2-piece Ife. And Luna has her own custom 6-star memory set, the 4-piece Flamel, with Darwin as the top row 2 set. And you want to resonate attack on top row and core passive on the bottom row. And you only need to Hypertune the bottom row since she's an elemental damage dealer. And as for weapons, it's pretty simple this time around. For 4-star weapons, just don't do it, she's a DPS. For 5-star weapons, it's enough for free-to-play players, and her 6-star or signature weapon is a good damage increase for budget and whale players. And as for my pull and build recommendations, if you couldn't tell from all the Astral Doom posting in this video, Luna straight up destroys Astral in terms of dark damage. For example, a base S-rank Luna with a 5-star weapon wipes the floor against a triple S Astral with a signature 6-star weapon. So yeah, she's a must pull and a must build. If there's any updates or corrections, I'll leave in the pinned comment down below. If you have any questions, drop in the comments or join the Discord at discord.io/AutomaTama. I'll try to respond if I'm not busy. Subscribe so you don't miss future guides and videos, and if you found this video informative, drop a like, a dislike if you didn't. It's that time again. I'll stream pulls sometime after her release in a couple weeks or so from this upload, and seeing the guys help so many people keeps me motivated, especially when I'm dead inside, so thank you all for the continued support. I'll keep doing my best, and yeah, that's it from me. Peace, late.